Recently, my favourite podcast, The Rest is History, has been doing a series of episodes on the wonderful Samuel Johnson. Now, for those of you who don't know, Samuel Johnson is famous for being the author of the first English language dictionary. Now, one of the things about Samuel Johnson is we know a lot about his life because his friend, close friend, James Boswell, was writing a journal. He wrote a journal about all his experiences, and a lot of those experiences involved Samuel Johnson. Forgive my voice, I've been suffering from a heavy cold and I'm still a little bit croaky, just bear with me. Anyway, going back to James Boswell and his journal. Now, because he wrote about the 18th century, the late 18th century times in London, historians today have a wonderful view of what London was like. Now, this is very similar to what we learned from Samuel Pepys. Samuel seems to have been a very common name. Well, Samuel Pepys was just a mid-level civil servant who for 10 years in the 1600s kept a daily diary, a daily journal. And he wrote about all his experiences, again, in London at that time. Now, this has given historians a wealth of information about what it was like during the plague and the Great Fire of London in 1666. Now, this reminded me of one of the many reasons why we should be journaling today. Now, we've got two options when it comes to journaling. We can journal digitally, and I have done that for a few years in the past using an application called Day One. I loved Day One. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I've moved back to using a actual physical diary or journal. Now, I've had a number of journals in the past. This one is a Baron Fig Confidant. It was a big journal. It's the biggest confidant. I've got a page marker in there with a little plastic toddle. Anyway, going back to this has been wonderful. I remember when I finally found a bottle of wine that I'd been searching for, having tasted it on an Air France flight, and let's be honest, Air France knows about their wines, which was a Poulet Fusé from Louis Latour. I finally found a bottle in Korea, and I took the label off the bottle and put it into my journal. Oh, it's just wonderful. But I have all sorts of other bits of information in here. But what I'm realizing is that I'm not just writing this for myself. I don't intend to indicate that everyone should burn my journals when I die. Who knows, a historian in the future, maybe 200 or 300 years in the future, may want to know what it was like living in Korea in the 2020s or more. So I also feel I've got a duty to future historians just to track what goes on in my life during my days. But there's something more about journaling which I think is really important just because of the times that we live in today and what journaling can do just for your mental health. Now, you probably felt that sense of speed. Everything has to be done right now. Everything is rush. The internet gives us instant news. Social media is telling us exactly what our friends are doing, or basically, as I seem to feel, just full of adverts these days for stuff that I may have searched online. So the ability to be able to just step away from all that speed and all that rushing is one of the things that the journal gives us, because it gives us that opportunity to be able to just sit down and just for maybe 10, 20 minutes a day, just have peace and quiet where you can write out your thoughts and feelings. However, I know if you're new to journaling, it can be a bit of a challenge to think, well, what do I write? And I always think of this, it's a bit like when you meet a stranger for the first time. You're not very open about your thoughts and feelings. You're getting to know each other. You kind of talk about the weather and you talk about perhaps what you did that day or where you've been that day. And I realized that, well, when you start out with journaling, that's exactly how to start. Just talk about the weather. Talk about what you, or I should say, not talk, but write about what you did yesterday. Write about what you saw and what you did and the weather. It's just a superb way of getting started with your journaling. So when I started writing on paper many years ago, I would just log what I did yesterday. I'd had a few thoughts down here, and I'm looking up here. I also wrote down what my objectives were for that day, so like my 2 most important tasks. That was how I really started my journaling. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed writing stuff down every morning. This is from Thursday, the 5th of April, 2018. So I was just writing into these journals and they were superb. Now, just for those of you who are curious, this journal here is, if I remember correctly, is a Galaxy leather. I'll put the details in the show notes below. I can't find the actual details on this particular journal, but I remember I was buying them from Galaxy Leather, I think they are, and they're beautiful journals. They're leather bound. They have this gold edging on the side of the pages, and they're not too expensive. The only problem with these is they're not really fountain pen friendly, but they come in a multiple different colors. I've got, I think it's a navy blue one, a green one, I've got a brown one there. Oh, and I've got a black one here. And I just filled these journals up. Now, because I was writing every day, these lasted about 3 to 6 months, depending on how much I was writing. But they are superb little journals. But as you progress with your journaling, you start, just like when you meet a stranger who becomes a friend, you open up and you start to talk about other things. And so in here, I've got all sorts of things that I've kept. I started writing about what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and this journal filled up very, very quickly. I think if I look at it, I started it. This is the Baron Fig one. I started in March 2024, this one, and it finished in August, end of August, so beginning of September. But it's a lovely, lovely journal, hardback, kind of like a cloth type cover. And again, this one is a little bit more friendly, if you like, paper friendly. And I got letters here that I'd received. I put all sorts in here. It's absolutely wonderful to go back to this and just to look at what I've collected over the years. Superb little notebooks. And I always go for the slightly bigger ones because some days you just want to empty your head. Now, one of the issues I had when I switched from day one to paper was the inability to actually put pictures in here. I could put letters, postcards, and that sort of thing, and tickets from concerts that I'd been to. But I didn't have a way of putting in pictures until somebody put me on to one of these. Now, this is a Kodak P300R. Now, I'm not sponsored by Kodak. I've got no affiliate links or anything with these. This was just something I picked up. I think it was about $120. And you get paper with it, obviously photos. It's a bit like the old Polaroid pictures, basically. And you can take a picture off your phone and then you can put it into your journal. Now, I have a picture on the 1st of January this year. Again, I can't really show you because it's all my personal thoughts. I'd love to show you it much closer. But I took a picture of the sunrise on the 1st of January and I stuck it in here. So it's just stuck in with glue and it's put on the 1st of January. It's just a lovely way of having those memories. Now, I should point out that back in, and I'm looking now at the dates, because the current journals that I'm using, and I'm probably going to continue using these for a very long time, are the Smythson, Panama, or Portobello notebooks. Now, this is my 2025 journal. In here, my 2025 journal is well, basically it's full. Yes, there's another one. I mentioned about the pictures. There's my little boy Louis there on Christmas Day. And I've filled in all sorts of, this is just beautiful. It's just wonderful that the stuff I've got in this journal. And it's just, I feel really attached to these. And they stay in, as I say, these Portobello, these Smythson notebooks come in these amazing boxes. So they are well preserved once you finish them. There you go. A big box, fits nicely in a bookshelf. It's just superb. So if you've been thinking about journaling, if you've had that urge to journal, think of it as a way of just slowing down, expressing your thoughts. But you're also helping historians in the future, because hopefully you won't burn these books. Of course, if you wish, you can ask for them to be burnt on your death. But when I think about it now, I have got quite a lot of information that future historians can use if they want to learn about what life was like in South Korea in the 20-teens and 2020s. But more importantly it's more for me because I can go back to 2016 and look at what I was writing, look at what I was feeling, even look at what I was doing and think, wow, look at how my life has changed over the last 5 or 10 years. I have a bunch of stuff on day one, which I'm a little bit concerned about because digital tends not to last a very long time. You know, things that I wrote 20 years ago in Claris Works. Does anyone remember that? I can't open those files anymore. I did try a few weeks ago to see, can I open this Claris? No, it cannot be opened. So I realized that generally paper is the best way forward. It really does mean that it doesn't matter what happens to technology. It also gives me a chance to get off the grid. And I do have that sense that my mental health is I say mental health, I feel much calmer, much more relaxed, and I'm sure it's down to the journal. Now, I've done a few videos over the years on writing a journal. Hopefully this little video has inspired you to start writing a journal. Please do, because historians of the future need you. You've got your keepsakes in here. You can take pictures. You can use one of these little printers. They are superb ways of just keeping those memories that's not going to add to the digital slop that's just out there these days. It's yours. It's personal to you. It's your life. Please, I urge you to start journaling, even if it's just a couple of sentences a day. You really are helping humanity in the future, even if you don't think that your life is significant. Believe me, it is. Samuel Pepys was a low-level or kind of mid-level civil servant, and yet today, almost 450 years later, we still know his life. That would be superb about your life too. So thank you for watching this. I've done a few videos on my journaling, and one particular one I showed you how to start journaling. And if you want to learn more, that's the video to watch next.